Oh, me. Well, good morning. Try to wait, get a few people in here. So we can get a few on. I might be I'm starting maybe a minute early there. A little bit, 30 seconds early. Hey, Ponka, how are you? Ponka seems to always be the first one on. I like Ponka. uh, he's an early bird, early adopter there. Uh, I'm trying to have a good spin on Christmas this morning. If you saw my title, uh, sort of bah humbug. It's the peak season. Peak season's tough on us. Peak season's tough on FedEx ground contractors. Hey, comfortable man, how are you? Uh, yeah, the peak season will work you really, really hard. I mean, well, you know, I'm glad everybody's doing well. I'm going to take a drink here right now. I'm doing well. It's the usual uh, peak season doldrums, I guess you might say, if that's a not a word I use very often, but I guess you might say that we get into a lot of yeah, it does. It wears on you. It We're working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and I have to be in charge of it the entire time. I mean, I've got guys calling me at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 in the morning, through in the afternoon. You know, every uh, hour of the day it seems like, and so I had to be on my game. Uh, I get some rest in between that, but and my wife, she can't understand how I've adapted over the years because I can get a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning and have the conversation, and then set down the phone, go right back to sleep, and then wait for the next phone call. And she can't do that. So she and I basically have to sleep separate from each other uh, because she when I get the phone call and she sees I go right back to sleep, and then 2 hours later she's still awake because of that phone call. So I over the years I've had to adapt to letting her have her space and I have my space because it just does not work for the business. I mean, once you some people can't adapt to that, but when I get awakened and then like I said, I can fall right back to sleep, and it doesn't really bother me too much. Sometimes now, occasionally, and if it's something that's nerve wracking, if it's something, if somebody has a bump up or something that's a little more traumatic, then I can't go back to sleep as good because at that point, it's usually my mind's working pretty hot and heavy. Yeah. Yeah. I've had to over the years sort of be able to compartmentalize some of this stuff. Uh, Not sure you told me what, comfortable man. Now, now, is that about? Now, you did tell me. Now, I gotta remember and get everybody straight. Go ahead and retell me what you were going to tell me, comfortable man. You turned down the offer on my caddy last week. Oh, I turned down the. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't need a caddy. Uh, he offered you 65,000 for it. Wow. And you turned it down. What kind of caddy was it? What kind of caddy was it? I don't. So you couldn't part with your baby. Was it a was it an antique caddy? I don't know which kind it was. I don't remember. I don't remember which kind you were talking about. Uh, it only has 17,000 miles. Well, you haven't driven it very much. I mean, I don't know how old it is. How old of a car is it? Uh, I mean, that's like, hello, Mr. Curry. How are you? You're not far, and you got to call. Okay, well, that's fine. My phone numbers are available. Anytime I'm off the air and everything here, you're welcome to call me here. So yeah, just be sure and call me. Okay, you got a 75 Coupe de Ville Dell convertible. Okay. I don't know. To each his own on those things because whatever your baby is, if it brings you more pleasure to keep it, keep it. I mean, that's like I got a 31 coupe and I like it and I'm gonna keep it. I could probably make money on it, but once you've gotten the money, then does the money, unless you're in a situation where you need money to pay for something that's vital, then I wouldn't sell certain things. Hey, Ryan, how are you? Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, hey, Greg, how are you? Glad to see you getting in here. You've got to, I guess, put your level of enjoyment, whether it be enjoying money to spend on something else or your need, you might say your need too, or if you derive pleasure from something, just hang on to it. Oh, okay. So you in the Olive Branch hub? Yeah. Now, if you're they really do have. I will say that address something that Mr. Curry's talking about there. Yeah, if you're in certain locations, they're letting some of these power uh, purchase power come over and take some of the regular runs off, and even if you're an extra board guy, a lot of them's not getting the runs that they should. Oh, are they? Well, if it's got a high demand like that, I would hang on to it. I would hang on to it and wouldn't worry about it. Well, how are you, Chris? That Thanksgiving lunch you had, I saw online, looked very yummy. So you've been there 5 years at Olive Branch. Yeah, I remember going through that. I've been through Olive Branch a couple times when I used to run the Memphis run. They would run us either, and actually we used to meet somebody out of Olive Branch one time too. I forgot who that was. Yeah, it looks like it was a big success. Like you had a big turnout there. When I come to see you now, Chris, you gonna put out a big spread like that for me, or do I just get a pimento cheese sandwich? Me, I'm gonna be heading out west. I'm gonna try. I told my wife, I said I'm gonna try to run out and see Chris on the way out when I'm going out to Vegas this next year. I'm gonna be driving out west, and I'm gonna try to uh, hit a lot of good spots. Oh, you got some relatives or hunters from Tennessee there? Yeah. Yeah, we'll fry up something. I'll get some roadkill on the way and we'll fry it up. Oh man. Yeah. 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 You got my joke, didn't you, about the only thing John Deere doesn't stand behind is that manure spreader. Yeah. That's the only thing they sell. My dad used to say that joke all the time. Yeah, the only thing John Deere ever sells that they won't stand behind, that's a manure spreader. Yeah, do that, Curry, and uh, yeah, just give me a call anytime. I'll be glad to speak to you, and if you're making a move or whatever. Yeah, but Olive Branch ought to be a good location, I would think. I don't know. Yeah, have the skinning knife nearby. So you got to keep that roadkill fresh. Got to get it skinned and fresh. Get it ready to cure. Yeah, I noticed Ricky was standing back there. I bet Ricky was smelling good after y'all got through with that manure spreader. It was a little bit dry manure, but I guarantee you don't want to talk. You don't want to stand back there and talk to somebody at the same time. The guy in the back don't want to anyway. I mean, if it hits him, that's all right, but he doesn't want to be running his mouth while you're running that manure spreader. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't want to. Yeah, that's one of the things don't want to do, and you don't want to be. They used to say you don't want to talk much when you're on a motorcycle either, because you get the gnats and bugs in your mouth. They'd have guys used to ride together, and they'd be kind of hollering at each other. I think straight in the mouth, a gnat. Yeah, yeah. I've been out spreading. When I'm spreading, I've been turning my chips. A buddy of mine owns a wood chip. Well, he's a he cuts trees down and everything. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. That yeah, you got to if you're going to put some trucks out there at Olive Branch, it's it is what it is. The extra board, and you'll probably have to start off the extra board. The extra board's tougher to run than like myself. I'm one of the old guys. I've got the runs. I've got I got the runs that a lot of them envy, and I don't have the extra board. I don't run anything on the extra board. Everything I have is a dedicated run. So I have a lot better situation than the average contractor that's trying to get on. So that's the yeah, that's the way it is. I mean, but yeah, the purchase power even gets into, like we are talking purchase power. They're even getting into my situation too. They've gotten into one of my regular runs out of Savannah, which is not hurting me too bad, because I got a young man that's got a problem with his wife's dying on him, and he's had to take off a good bit of time. So that has kind of worked in conjunction with what I need it to be. But no, I've had one. We've had to kind of call them out on one of my dedicated runs that purchase power was getting, as opposed to my regular bid run. And but they have actually taken some bid runs and put them on hiatus in some places, and said, well, no, we're going to run purchase in this lane, and you're just going to have to run basically go back to the extra board, which is tough. But I mean, I've seen it happen. So, I understand your philosophy on that. Now, guys, I'm talking a lot of FedEx lingo here. The ones that are not FedEx, you're not going to know what I'm talking about, maybe. But what they do at peak season, uh, they bring in a lot of what they call purchase power, outside power. You'll see a Swift or a Snyder or I'm trying to think who else is in there. Well, it's not Celadon, that's for sure. But Celadon has filed bankruptcy. But anyway, they'll bring in these what they call purchase power uh, to our situation, and they'll give them some of our good dedicated runs. And sometimes they kind of infringe on the guys that have regular runs. Uh, so it it's funny how they have to be able to do this. Hey, Philip, how are you? Yeah, we're all in here kind of chit chatting a little bit about FedEx's situation, and we were talking about, of course, and it goes along with what my title of the show was this week too. When I said "Bah Humbug," because it is a tough situation. I mean, I have one, two, 6 trucks running right now, and it is tough on me to keep trucks running because of the fact that I mean I'm running them night and day. I mean I've got trucks. I'm slip seating them as soon as somebody gets in, another guy gets in them, and they're going right back out. And we don't even have hardly time enough to service them good. I've had to pull some offline, kind of one at a time, to get them serviced because those trucks are seriously. We don't even cut the key off. I mean it's that tough right now. It's get this driver out and get another driver in, and uh, it it's good in a way and it's bad in a way. I mean, it makes some money, but a lot of times it's you seem to have to spend as much money just to maintain the status quo. Well, I know you do. I mean, I had over the weekend, I've had 3 of the newer trucks that I just got that are having issues with the exhaust system and everything else, and the check engines coming on and a few things. So I've got 3 that I got to put on the computer tomorrow and just find out what's going on with them. It's something with the emission systems. Some of this crap that we used to not even worry about years ago, but now we do. And then I had a truck that got hit in the truck stop yesterday. I got to deal with that. And then I had another one that a lady ran into going down the road the other day, and we're gonna have to fight that one too, because this lady she was on her cell phone. She wasn't paying attention, and she bumped my truck. My guy's running down the road straight as an arrow, and this lady hits him. And now she's fighting. She's, "Oh, you hit me." Well, it's a he said, she said type situation, but it didn't damage my truck. It bent the step up a little bit, but she came over on us and tore a hole in her door. And now she's wanting to claim that we came over on her, and it wasn't so. So we got to get our cameras and everything. And, this is where cameras actually can save us. I mean, we've had 2 instances this year where cameras, these guys, fuss about cameras and everything in trucks. But we've had 2 instances where the camera actually has saved us and the person. Now, of course, it tells the same story if you're wrong too. And I've got one that I had a driver that actually did come over on somebody, and he's going to be convicted of a traffic violation, and I'm gonna have to pay a big fine. Well, not fine. I'm gonna have to fix that car, and the deductible's terrible on these things now. So these are the situations we get into, and these are things I have to deal with. Yeah, I like the cameras on. I wish I had some going down the sides. I mean, you wouldn't think it so much, but you really do. You need the cameras on the mirrors, and I may try to start installing the ones on the mirrors so it shoots down the side of the trucks, so we can have that recorded also. And if we had that recorded, we could see when people come over on us. We can see when if we're on our side of the road or the white line or whatever. And that's what it's going to be necessary. We're in a sue mentality right now. Everybody wants to sue somebody else, and everybody's going to place blame on the big truck. No offense, but the big trucks get blamed for a lot more than they do. Now, they do their fair share of damage and everything, and if you're involved with an accident with a big truck, it's usually pretty horrific. But the problem is, there's too many that try to see the name of the company and they go big bucks. We're going to get big bucks out of this because that's a major company. And I don't know about how it is in every area where y'all are at, but there's lawyers that's got billboards everywhere around here, and it's pretty bad. They're saying, and the billboards explicitly say, if you've ever been involved with an accident with a tractor trailer, call me. It doesn't say if you're at fault. It just says if you've been involved, and that's what they're getting you at. because they feel like if you're involved with a tractor trailer accident, we're going to get money out of that tractor trailer. You sent me a picture. Okay. I guess you're talking to me, Greg. I don't know where the picture came. I guess it came through my email. I'd have to let me see if I can. Let me see if you send it through my email. I'll check and see if I got it, Greg. But I don't. No, I don't seem to have it. I checked my email. I didn't get anything through my. Did you send it through my? Oh, you sent it through my phone. Oh, well, a while back. Well, unfortunately, I got the other phone over here with me. I carry. This is my main phone. If you send it to my main number that's on there, it's going to be at the house, so I won't have it on this because this is my. If you want to send it again, I'll give you another number to send it to. Send it to 704 813 5563. That's this phone here. If you send it to the phone that's listed on my info, that's the phone that's at my house right now. Is there a net worth requirement to be a FedEx? No, there's not a net worth. I mean, you've got you've got to be able to own 2 tractor trailer trucks. I mean, you're going to have to, they won't let you have a contract unless you bring on 2 trucks. That's a minimum. They used to be 3, but I think they're down to 2 now. I think they let you own with 2 trucks, and they don't do a background check as far as your financials. I don't think they used not to. I don't remember. No, I think if you've got a truck, you got 2 trucks that are yours, that you have the title to, or either you're financing and you can show that you're the person financing it or whatever, then you can pretty well, that's the minimum requirement. Now, comfortable man, or you're not a contract. You've been a driver, haven't you? Well, see, FedEx doesn't sell franchises. Now, if you want to buy a route, now you that's between you and somebody that owns a route, and that's a whole different situation. But that doesn't apply to FedEx. I mean, if you're applying to FedEx and you're just going to go on the ground floor level, that's there's not a financial background check per se. Although they did when I very first started, they did when I very started as a package van, but I was, of course, I had to finance one of their package vans. But it's if you come to them, and you already own 2 tractor trailer trucks, and you get into their system, they may do a little bit of background checking. I don't know for sure. I haven't gone through that process in so many years. It's yeah. Yeah. Now, restaurant franchises can be tough. They didn't dump him. Well, that's fantastic. He was able to keep his job then, was it, Chris? Of course, if they can prove that, and we were talking about cameras again. I don't, because you said, I think you said he didn't have a camera in there. If they can prove that you're not in the fault, they won't. But I've not seen very many. Although I did have one driver that flipped a rear trailer, but it was during a high wind situation, and we got him back, and that was good. Yeah, he definitely on thin ice, that's for sure. I mean, you don't want to have the least little bump up if you're. I mean, there are, excuse me, there are some provisions that if you I'm trying to see how I can state this. If you're if you do have some bump ups, you're limited in whatever anything else that would go against your license or whatever. You could, if your CSA score gets bad as a driver, they could terminate you, or they would say they don't terminate you. They tell your contractor that this person is unavailable or he is suspended as far as their system is concerned. Yeah, I don't see how they got that new truck on. See, that's the thing about it. Somebody in approval could have their butt in a sling because we have to show that that camera is actually working and transmit a a video, a little bit of short video of that, and prove that that truck is camera is working before they'll even approve it. That's been my case, and because we've had to submit that to Pittsburgh. So I don't know how that truck got put on. Somebody somewhere dropped the ball on that one, and maybe that's why he kind of slid through the cracks. Because I don't know. Yeah, I guarantee they better get them working now. They could lose their contract. I mean, that is mandatory. That's not optional. That's mandatory. You have to have working cameras. You have to have working cameras, and you've got to have working ELDs. I mean, it's not a question at all. It's not. It's. I mean, it's something that you definitely have to have. So you know, it's something. Well, there ought to be a lot of trucking opening up. I don't know if y'all saw, and it's probably more out. I think in the Midwest is where they're more prevalent. Is Celadon, that's Celadon, Celadon Trucking. Pretty large. I think they had about 2,000 trucks on the road. They filed bankruptcy this week. Yeah, you used to do annual inspections. Yeah, they're yeah they won't you got to have a camera. They won't approve a truck unless you've got a working camera in it. Yeah, now you can do a rental. A rental truck is not required to have a camera, but you cannot put a rental or a trip lease. But you cannot have a permanently assigned truck on without having a working camera in it. So they had to have the status different on it, and they could have done that, had it in as a trip lease, and you can go out and buy a truck and trip lease it that day. But if you can get the license and everything for it, but if you try to put it on as a working truck, then you can't. Yeah, now that would be the only model that they would let you have that in, and because I trip lease, I've got 3 trucks and I'm trip leasing. I'm maxing out my system right now because I'm like I said I'm trip leasing 3 of my trucks, and then I'm putting on I put on 6 new ones, and I'm getting ready to maybe go buy 3 more. Just got to see where the budget is. I don't want to overextend myself too much, but because I got to keep paying these big ass payments. That's and then when freight slows down, that's one of the things you got to keep all those trucks rolling, and so it is what it is on that. So I mean I can't. It'd be nice to have you know it'd be nice to just be able to go out and buy the trucks and just let them roll, not worry about the payments. But you've got to budget that and make sure you say, well, I mean, those six have really got a pretty healthy payment right now. And if I get 3 more, it's going to be half again as much as that, probably. Mm. Oh yeah, Oh yeah, it is. But I'm gonna probably try to get those three more for tax purposes. I can even though it's here at the end of the year, I can get a full year's depreciation. Even though I buy it at the end of the year, and that's what a lot of people do sometimes. I've done it several times because if I buy this truck in December, then I get the entire year of depreciation out of it. So that's why I like doing that because basically, I'm looking at these new ones, and we're looking at somewhere, 200,000. Uh, that's another $200,000 depreciation, and depending on how my accountant wants to set it up for depreciation, I mean, you can take up to, I think, 55 or $65,000 one time depreciation. So if I need that, we can use a one time depreciation on maybe one truck, and then do the rest of them out through uh, like a schedule of four, I think 5 years, 4 or 5 years. So when we do that, and then you take a division of that amount. Say if we got 500,000, then you're doing a division of that, and you're going to get about 100,000 each year on depreciation on something like that. So it depends on what your profit loss situation is. So you really got to analyze that really good. Well, depreciation is a good thing. Depreciation is uh, you've got to play that to make money, and so far so good. I've been on top of that fairly good. It will bite you sometimes if you always need to stay on top of your depreciation, because if you let something fall off and you've been dependent on that amount of money to lower your taxable income, then you could really make a huge mistake. I let too much fall off. I think it was year before last, and didn't have enough purchases on one of the companies, and I had to pay 25 or $30,000 in taxes that year, and that didn't feel good. And had I gone out and actually had purchased some equipment that year, I could have had zero taxes to pay on that. And everybody wonders about how companies come out, and that's one of the reasons you can come out is because you're reinvesting into your company, and they allow you to depreciate this off. It's a depreciable asset, and you get to use the asset, and the asset should make you money. So that in turn lets you grow your business, and then you couple that together with do you continue to grow? Do you continue to expand? And that's what you have to do. You can't be at a dormant level. You've got to be at a level where you're continually trying to grow your assets. Uh, Now I've gotten into that with my Napa store here. I'm in a growth period with this, and we've put a ton of money into it this past year, but I've got to guard myself by not putting too much at one time, because I can only get so much depreciation, so much investment credit, and everything back. So it's a balancing thing. You better have a good accountant that can keep you straight, so you don't spend thinking, well, I can deduct that. Well, maybe you can, maybe you can't. You better stay on top of what you can deduct, and you better get a little better advice than the average person. Um, can get dangerous with this if you don't watch it. You have to. Oh, your wife's an accountant. Well, she ought to know what we're talking about with the. If she's an accountant, she knows about the depreciation. My daughter's an accountant. She studied accounting. She's got a degree in accounting, and my wife's a retired school teacher. But we have a CPA too. So I have people hopefully to keep me straight, and to keep me on the straight and narrow over the years. And so far, so good. Sure. After I get off, I'll be glad to talk to you. Just give me a buzz, and I'll be glad to talk to you. I'm gonna talk for a little bit longer here this morning, and try to get all the gang in here, and uh, yeah. Well, yeah. Tax avoidance. Well, I don't know how you want to state it. you've got to. I mean, like, everybody fusses about Donald Trump's taxes and everything. Well, Donald Trump has greatly improved his status because he's had good tax people, and he's taken advantage of every tax loophole there is. And they talk about it being a loophole, but oh, my phone number, 704 704 813 5563. You can call me on that number. That's one I've got right here beside me after I get off. And but Donald Trump is a perfect example of somebody that's taking advantage of every tax situation he can. And there's a lot of others too. I mean, look at Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos for years was reinvesting, and not making a profit on Amazon because he was putting everything. I mean, everything back into it. And what has he done? He's got the cards stacked now. He's going to own everything before it's over with because they've let him grow too fast. Yeah, he definitely is. Uh, he's definitely a mastermind on what he wanted to accomplish. He started just selling books, and now he's selling everything, and he's controlling everything, and he's trying to control the freight business right now too. He is trying, and he's killing people out there. I mean, you can go online and you can see all the different people that are complaining about Amazon freight. And I was involved with that a little bit. I did it for a couple of years, got out of it because I saw that they were going to really uh, screw a lot of them over on freight, and they are. They're not doing what they said they were intentionally want to do. He captured a lot of people out into the freight business, and now he thinks he can control it, and he does it by getting into so many gray areas. I mean, he had people delivering packages in their cars. Well, these people, for one, are not insured to do that. I mean, if he was doing it legal, he would have to make sure that those people that he's hiring to take up those packages and go out and deliver his packages were insured properly as a commercial vehicle, which they're not. They would have to have proper insurance in case they damage something at your house. They're not. All they've got is a general liability policy as a individual for a car, and that's wrong. But the government let him do that, and he was not squashed for that. And how they did that for so many years here, I don't know if they're still doing it or not. They've got their own vans out there now, and that's probably because they built that network up to a certain level. But for letting individuals deliver packages in their cars, uh, I know it created some business for some people, but it let people get out there that didn't have the proper credentials, and that was wrong. And the Amazon knew that was wrong, and they still and the government didn't step in, and the regulators didn't step in and say you can't do that, but they did. And I don't know. There's so many gray areas that I've seen Amazon do, uh, and they're continuing to do, and they're pushing the envelope further than anybody else. And it's sort of like, uh, we'll pay the fine if you catch us doing it. That's what it seems like they're doing to me. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I don't know. Uh, it you know I don't know for sure what they're doing, but I've seen enough to know that, and been involved with them myself personally, that I know that some of this stuff is sort of sketchy, and you know it is what it is. They if they want to get by with it, they can get by with it. They got way more money than I've got, and they'll shut down anybody that would come up against them right now. And that's one of the things they're doing too. They can shut people down. Uh, they've got the strength, and that's what they're trying to do. And that's one of the reasons that FedEx is not even hauling Amazon freight anymore. Well, not much of it. They get it some of it, but they were tied in there pretty tight, and they were using the system. And FedEx kind of got tired of them They got tired of letting. They saw that Amazon was growing their business on their back, and I I think FedEx got wise to it and says, "Wait a minute, they're going to come in here and try to take business away from us." So that's what you're seeing right now, and of course now you're seeing Uber Freight get out there. You're seeing a lot of things that have been regulated pretty strenuously uh, up, and you've got people that are pushing the envelope. Yeah, I know. They're advertising everywhere now, and that's something you used to never see was Amazon uh, advertising. So that's the way it goes. Well, guys, my voice is getting a little bit scratchy, so I'm going to get off of here. Got a couple guys who want to call me too, so I'm gonna get off. I've sort of said my piece this morning, and y'all take care. And I will catch y'all next Sunday. Hopefully, I'll try to get a couple of videos out. I've been doing a few things, so hopefully, watch for some videos out there this week. And I'll talk to y'all later, and y'all take care.